Thank you, Ceann Corda. Incarceration, mass graves, forced family separation, physical, psychological and sexual abuse. The history of partnerships between church and state concerning maternity and women's healthcare represents some of the darkest parts of our past. It is a tragically recurring pattern when men in positions of power collaborate to make decisions about women's bodies. This oppressive regime was often subtle and invisible. It was enforced by social norms, wrapped up in caring language, and it was found in the limitation of medical procedures. Most importantly, concerns, questions and objections were disregarded, denied and shouted down. While this Dáil still debates legislation to deal with the legacies of that cruel and twisted system, today it is abundantly clear that this government has learned nothing from our history. That gifting our National Maternity Hospital to St Vincent's set up by the Sisters of Charity is even up for discussion disregards and compounds the suffering that many thousands of people have experienced at the hands of the Church and State. In addition, genuine concerns of mothers have been dismissed as misinformation. Medical practitioners and legal experts have been disregarded. People have been labelled conspiracy theorists for asking questions. TDs who supported repeal seem to think this somehow shields them from any kind of criticism. From the outset, the government's handling of the National Maternity Hospital plans has been contradictory, confusing and inconsistent. Despite all the government's spin and claims, there are three fundamental questions which have not been resolved. Firstly, why is the government gifting a €1 billion hospital to a private company? On that point alone, this deal should not be going ahead. Secondly, why are the Sisters of Charity not giving the site over to the state as promised? We're being told that a 300-year lease is essentially transferring the land. Then why are we not just doing that? What is their reason or motivation for retaining ownership? Thirdly, what is meant by clinically appropriate? That there has been so much debate about how this could be interpreted is in and of itself evidence that it could be interpreted in many ways. It is unbelievable that that key term remains ambiguous. These questions have been asked repeatedly by members of opposition and in particular by female leaders. I'm raising gender because it is deeply relevant. This state has a horrendous record on women's health, even up to this government, when it was required to have a Dáil motion seeking an implementation plan for our national maternity strategy. The women of Ireland, the people who will be using this hospital, are being ignored. Another government that knows better than women. Patriarchy and misogyny run so deep in the society, often people cannot even see it. Women have won the right to control their bodies. It was a long and hard-won battle opposed by politicians and religious orders that should never be put in doubt again. But today it has. In full knowledge of all the concerns, all the unanswered questions, and all the legal and medical ambiguities, the government decided to plough ahead because it knows best. It knows what's best for women, not women themselves. Government TDs and ministers like myself have received countless emails and messages on the issue from women and mothers. I wonder, do you even stop for 1 second to think that they may have a point before those of you who take the time to reply tell them all the ways that they're wrong? This decision is wrong on so many levels. But like so many bad decisions, because things have gone on too long, is being used as an excuse. Let's not reflect on how badly this has been handled by the Ministers of Health, Varadkar and Harris, and now Minister Donnelly. Instead, let's accuse those raising legitimate concerns of delaying things. That argument will not cut it this time. People see through it. Most importantly, the girls and women of Ireland see through it. The solution has always been incredibly simple. A state-owned and controlled national maternity hospital built on state lands and through the use of state funds. Not only is this the proper way to conduct healthcare projects, not to mind €1 billion of taxpayers' money, but it removes any possible doubt about governance and medical procedures. And most importantly, it ensures that the will of the women in Ireland will be respected. Why is it so hard for the government to accept? And when the issue inevitably arises, where will the minister be? He can't say he didn't know. He can't say he was not warned. But the real hard truth is that it will be the women and girls of Ireland who will bear the brunt of his mistakes. They again will suffer because the government thought it knew better than them. That will be his legacy. Another government making the wrong healthcare decisions for women.
Short up.